Hello everyone, it's Jelling here from Chill Out Style. I do apologize for being so late for my reading for the week. I've got a good story as to why, and I'm going to get into that. So it's quite an interesting story because it's a bit of a long story as well, but it's a story of serendipity and um, when and why things are supposed to happen and plan out the way they are. Okay, so for those of you who are not interested in my story, I'll quickly just label the piles and you can go into the description, find the timestamps and move the thing along. Okay, so the drums, because this is all about inner child, I've used my son's children's set. So this is blue and it's got a picture of drums on it. So if you're someone who into drums or you just like the color blue, then this is your pile. This is shakers and it's got a star on it. So if you like the color orange, you like shakers, or you like stars, this is your pile. Okay, and then this one's, I think it's a xylophone, if I can remember myself, but it's a triangle, green and xylophone. Okay, so you may either like the numbers 1, 2, or 3, or you just like the colors, or you like the instrument. Go ahead and choose and I'll get into your piles. For those of you who are interested in my story, however, let me tell you how this goes. Okay, so as we all know, 2020 started with probably the massive tower moment ever. So like the whole world went into this absolute tower moment and everything came crumbling down around us. Okay, almost every single one of us has gone into some form of quarantine, and it has really and truly been quite a year. Okay, I've tried to use the time to try and figure out why. I've had a lot of frustrations. I've lost a lot of myself over the years, or gone off the beaten track or off the path, which has led to a lot of frustration, a lot of depression, a lot of sadness, a lot of hurt, anger, and so on and so forth. And so putting me into isolation this year was probably, well, at the end of the day, I realized a good thing, but in the beginning wasn't so good. Okay, I was also dealing with all the frustration and anger. I kind of had, a bit of anxiety and was actually suffering with a little bit of adrenal fatigue. Okay, so I'm not going to get into that too much. You can always Google it, but it's quite a difficult thing. It messes with your sleep patterns. You gain weight, especially around the stomach area. The slightest thing actually triggers you. And so, I turned to my cards and asked, what must I do? Where do I go? Blah, blah, blah. And the card said, meditate. And, you've been put into this isolation because you need to meditate and spend more time with us and so on and so forth. And I was like, you got to be shitting me. The last thing I can possibly do right now is meditate. I used to be really good at it. Because I've got this adrenal fatigue, your mind is racing. You're in fight and flight mode all the time. So the slightest, smallest thing can just trigger you. And that's it. You're in a mood and your mind is just going. And you actually cannot slow yourself down. You can't even read a book. You can't. It's very, very frustrating. So I was like, well, yeah, that's just great fun. Thank you very much. Anyway, I decided that I wanted to book a holiday, and just a couple of days away. I'm a mountain girl, and so I thought a couple of days in the mountains will just help me to replenish my soul and get me back to me, and maybe I'll be able to get all that. And just after I had paid for the time away, boom, they cancelled all trips and we weren't allowed to go anywhere. And I was like, oh my god, angels, like what the hell, like seriously, like that's the one way I know how to get myself back into me and back into meditating and get my soul replenished, and now you take that away as well. So anyway, I mean, I can giggle now, wasn't so funny back then. And so the funniest thing was the person who taught me the biggest lessons was my son, my 18-month-old son, because he decided through this whole period that he was just going to get into a next phase of his life. And so a child that I had very little sleep trouble with. I mean, we had our moments and our stages, just all of a sudden would not go to sleep. And I Googled everything. We tried every single little thing. People came with all the advice and nothing worked. And so the one day I just had this idea that I must just try some meditation with him. So this is really funny because I couldn't meditate myself, but I found some calming, meditating, sleeping music, and I would turn off the lights in him and I would lie in the bed, and this could take anything from 10 to half an hour, 10 minutes to half an hour. And he has a huge draw to moons and stars. And this meditation, if you just Google sleeping meditation, you'll see it. And it's just all these sunsets and moons and stars and galaxies. And he really loved it. And like I say, within time, he'll put his head on my shoulders or whatever. Sometimes I need to tickle his back and boom, he's lights out. He just falls asleep and then I can pick him up and move him. But I had to surrender. I literally just had to surrender to the fact that he wasn't going to work in any other way. And so, boom, without knowing it, I actually got meditating again, because lying in a room in the dark, staring at the stars, just, pulls you into that quiet mode anyway. So, throughout my meditations and staring at the stars and the moons, it got me thinking that why is he so attracted to that? And I thought, well, it's not because he's a starseed. And then I started thinking, I mean, I've kind of looked into the starseed / indigo / crystal children and, with my other kids, but never really looked too much in for myself. I mean, I know that I have, a draw to a past life where, I love looking at like, there's obviously a draw to, with psychics and I know I'm a spiritual person and, possibly had a pagan life or was known as a witch, back in those days, was probably burnt at the stake or whatever. I love, like, the eras with the kings and queens, and I'm very drawn to those kind of movies and series. In fact, I love the Once Upon a Time and anything with fairies and things like that. So I knew that was something to do with my past life. But with all my Googling, and I was, kind of looking at the Palladians, the star seeds and the Palladians and the, galactic part. And throughout all of that, I found this deck, okay. And it took a long time to get here. So talk about divine timing, and it all kind of happened all at once. So in between, with any searches with YouTubes, if you are searching things, it will just bring you more and more of what you've been searching. And last week, I got a telephone call to say they've now opened up the casual travel and I could take my trip. And at the same time, my deck, The Inner Child, arrived, and there's a hell of a lot of things about exactly that back in the day and how it, all developed, and the stories and how they were told back in the day and how we told these stories now. There's a huge difference. So there's a lot of interesting stuff with all this. On top of that, like I said, so on Saturday, I had this meditation to do with the Lion Gates portal. And obviously that's also, got to do with the whole galactic thing. And I happened to have a meditation or an activation, a Lionsgate activation come on during a time. I was probably on for 5 minutes and I joined it. And it was actually one of the most amazing things I have done. So if you ever see something like that, by all means, go and do it. As a Reiki practitioner, I know what it feels like to deal with energy, but this energy was beyond anything I've ever felt. And I really feel like it's opened up a different portal for me. And so, anyway, this week I got to deal with a lot of my inner child, being my own son, and we went away and I got to have my time in the mountains. And every time I came to wanting to give you guys a reading, he kind of threw a fit and I had to go spend the time with him. So I got to do a lot of playing and swinging and all kinds. So I got my inner child moment, okay? So serendipity, you name it, this is how it all happens. When the timing is right, things fall into place. This week is when I was supposed to get my cards. It all fell into the place that then I could go away and I could really have something to do. It wasn't just, go away and go stare at the mountains, but, during the quiet moments, I could actually sit and read my book and get a better idea, which is today's reading. This is all to do with the portal, what's happening. We all know the new normal that's coming out. I've even got my nice little witchy nails to help with the reading. And this is about, what are you going to be doing? What's going to be opening up for you with, with this portal? What's it going to bring to you? How can you use your inner child to help you through this new normal, as they say? Because we know the world's changing, and it's changing quite fast, and we all can help out some way or form. Okay, so again, this is your pause for you to really sit and have a look, and maybe do a meditation yourself beforehand, before you actually choose to find out what actually do you need to know right now. What can help you with this new normal? How can you go through into this new normal in a better way? Okay, so again, pile number 1, blue drums, pile number 2, shakers, orange shakers, pile number 3. Timestamps will be below. Okay, so sorry, I cannot work with these nails very well, so just bear with me. Just put that there. I also might refer to the book if I need be, because again, it was a lot of readings to go through over a couple of days. Okay, blue drums, we're starting now. Okay, so what do you need to know? What this reading, the actual spread I'm doing is called the child spread. Okay, so the first card has got to do with what is shaping you right now. So what is shaping you at this moment, getting you ready for your new transformation, or your new you, or the better you, whatever. And funny enough, you've got Sleeping Beauty. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can pick these up with these nails. 6 of Wands. And the 6 of Wands will be your, in the place of your goals. What do you need to climb higher in order to attain a better you? Then you've got, in the ego position, is Snow White. And it's the ego, but it's like, what do you need to change in your life to attain this? You've got your future, or how you're creating, or what are you creating for yourself and your loved ones, the future. And you've got Cinderella. And what is the doorway into the new world? As we said, this is about going into the new world. How do we go forth into this new world? How do we get the quintessential you? Okay, and you've got the Child of Swords. Okay, so already pile number 1, you guys are going through something really, really major, because you have got 3 major arcanas, okay, out of the 5 cards. Okay, and your first card, funny enough, with Sleeping Beauty, this is actually the Death card. Okay, so in traditional tarot, this is what you would call the Death card, and it's just our Sleeping Beauty. How pretty are these cards? Rather large, but really gorgeous. So with the Death card, as you know, it's not really a card of meaning that you're going to die. It is a card of death and rebirth. It's transformation. Now, the interesting part about this, and how it relates back to Sleeping Beauty, is the story. We all know the story, so I don't have to really go into it. For those of you who don't, go and watch it, but I'll get it, very basic thing. So when she's a baby, some fairies come along and they grant wishes. Fairies, whatever you want to call them. And the bad fairy, or the demon fairy, or whatever, black fairy, comes along and says that she will prick her finger, I think it's her 16th birthday, and she will then die. One of the other fairies comes along and says, well, she will still prick her finger because we can't change that, but she won't die. She'll be put into a deep sleep and then woken up kissed by her prince. What we don't know about this movie is that it's actually, the prick on the finger is her going through her years and how she develops into this possible woman, and the prick on the finger is actually when she starts menstruating, and she then basically transforms because she lands up going into this deep sleep / death, and then has a rebirth when she is woken up by her Prince Charming. Okay, so again, with the Death card, it's more about transformation. It's about what you are going through at the moment is quite important. So whatever you're going through right now, it's really important for your rebirth, okay? We'll get more into that, but really and truly, you are being transformed. And like I said, your transformation is huge because of all the major arcanas you've got here. Okay. You then got what you need in order to ascend higher, and that is the child, the Six of Wands. Okay, so with the Six of Wands, this card marks back in the day, so back in the, I suppose you could call it the old pagan tradition, and this was, you've got obviously a butterfly, which is again, tells you about transforming. It's about death and rebirth, because butterflies, as we know, goes into a worm and comes out a beautiful butterfly. So that's basically what you're going through. It's funny how all your cards are coming to the same thing. Anyway, this is May Day, back in the day, and they're all celebrating Mother Earth. They're celebrating the May Day is obviously spring in the Northern Hemisphere. But these are basically a plant, and these girls are celebrating by planting a ribbon around the pole. Okay, but they're dancing around the pole too. Okay. There's a lot of rituals about May Day. In the Japanese, it's the tea ceremonies. There's Kanuka and Saint Nicholas. These were all pagan traditions back in the day, and as we know, Western civilizations, or should I say religious stories, have changed a lot of these stories and taken over them. But the main part of this card is the fact to, celebrate fertility, or celebrates not necessarily fertility like as in pregnancy, but the new, bringing about the new. Celebrate Mother Nature. Spend some time expressing your passion. Spend some time seeing the beauty in life. Have more fun. Honor the new that's coming through in your life. Okay, so even though you're going through a lot right now, have more gratitude, have more happiness about what's about to come. Okay, this is very much a victory card. Very much better things are coming through to you. Okay, so you need to focus on this more than on what you're going through, the bad that you're going through right now. Okay, so finding, once again, your inner child is about finding the fun and the joy and the simplest things in life. Okay, so spend more time in nature, celebrate Mother Nature more, find the small things enough to celebrate. Okay, right, then you have got the things that need to kind of change, or the things you need to, this is your ego, the things that are obviously stopping you right now from this victory, from this happiness, the celebration. And you've got Snow White. Okay, so again, if you don't know the story, I can't really sit down and tell you the whole story, but as we know, Snow White's mother dies while giving birth, but beforehand she has a wish as to how she would like her daughter to look like. Okay, she then gets a very bad stepmom, an ugly, evil stepmother who comes in along and is very jealous of her because she's very vain, and she wishes into a mirror, and she wants to be the most beautiful woman in the land, but they said she's not the most beautiful woman in the land, Snow White is. And so what happens? She tries to get her killed. So she first sends off a hunter who tries to kill her, and he feels so bad that he sets her free. She then finds her way into they used to be gnomes apparently back in the day, so gnomes that have become dwarves. And these 7 dwarves then look after her. But her gratitude back to them is she cooks and cleans and looks after them in that way. Okay, so, and then as we know, the stepmother comes in and, finds out she's alive, is very angry, and she tries to kill her. So first I think she tries to get some lace that will strangle her. Then there was a poisonous comb that tries to kill her, and eventually she eats the poisonous apple and she dies. But as we know, she doesn't die. The dwarves put her into a glass casket, puts her outside, and Prince Charming comes, again, kisses her, manages to revive her, again, waking up. You're having a lot of this in your reading, waking up, and she lives happily ever after. Okay, so what does this mean for you? This is the Hermit card, and again, this is basically what you need to stop fighting. Okay, Your ego is obviously maybe you having to go into a hermit moment, which is, the inner light, finding the inner light, finding the patience, finding the peace within whatever your process is right now. It might mean you might be isolated, maybe because of the virus, maybe you're not able to see your friends, you're not able to see your family because of the virus. You might just be finding yourself to be quite alone at the moment. For whatever reason, don't fight it. Okay, so the theme for you is do not fight. See the light in your current situation. Okay, understand that this is a important process that you need to go through right now. Snow White did not fight her bad outcome. I mean, if you watch any of the fairy tale stories, she was always singing to the birds, and she was a happy person cleaning. She didn't turn out bitter and angry and hated the world. And, I mean, she was literally hated by her stepmother, tried to kill her a number of times. And she was quite happy just to accept her fate. And she gave back to her dwarves, she gave back to her birds and the nature. And in the end, what happens is the light came into the casket, so her casket opened up and in came Prince Charming and saved her. Okay, so again, don't fight what's going on right now. This whole process for you is really, really, really important and will bring about your Prince Charming, or Princess Charming, whatever. Okay. Then this is the future. So this is basically what's creating right now, or what's creating for yourself. And for your future, and you have got Cinderella. Okay, so you really have got all the fairy tale princesses. So it's Cinderella, again, not going into the story, we all know, again, hated by her stepmother. I mean, Cinderella's mother dies as well. Her father remarries, and she's left also hated by her stepmother and her stepsisters. And because they're jealous of her, they make her go sleep on the floor, and she has to cook and clean for all of them. Okay. There then becomes the big ball. She wants to go. She is dirty. She's got no clothes. She can't even go to this ball. And she preys on her fairy godmother, who magically arrives, and so does her ball gown and a pumpkin. And I'm sure, again, you know the story. She goes to the ball, finds her prince, dances all night, falls madly in love with the prince, and loses her slipper because she has to be home before midnight. And he then needs to come find her. And he has one slipper, and he doesn't know what she looks like, and he finds her. Okay. So the moon is all about your deep emotions. It's about digging really, really deep. Okay. She's, obviously it's about realizing your dreams, and your dreams will eventually manifest. You will find, once again, I'm just giving you the storyline, just take whatever resonates for you. You will find your happy ending. In other words, you will find each one of these princesses find their happy ending in the end. They find their Prince Charming or Princess Charming, whatever your sex is, whatever you're looking for. But in order to get there, even the riches, she became rich, and, well, I think she was always rich, but, they found their happy ending in the end. But you need to delve very deep right now. You need to delve into the heart of the hearts of what you're going through. What are you hiding from the people around you? What is hidden about your emotions? Are you being honest with the people around you? Are you being honest about what you think, how you feel? What is the real truth behind you right now? Okay. What is the truth of your situation? Okay. So that will be what you need to deal with. Okay. Your final card, which is exactly that, the doorway into your new world. How can you get into your new world? What's your quickest way in there? And for you, it is Pinocchio. Okay, again, very brief story. So Geppetto, which is a woodworker, makes a son. He couldn't have children, made a son out of wood. However, the son had a problem with lying, and his nose grew every time he lied. And he wanted to be a real boy, and the real story ends up happening that in order to be a real boy, he had to sacrifice himself and look up, put his people before him first. Okay. So again, honesty. So these are both asking you for a lot of honesty. So again, your biggest change is really to delve deep. Okay. Find the joy within your life, and to be really, really honest with yourself, because the truth lies within you. You know what you need to do. You know the honest truth of your situation. When you obtain that truth, and when you really look at yourself and say, who am I hiding away from? And sometimes it's even yourself. Maybe the person you need to be honest with. Maybe, I'm not saying that you're a liar, but you might need to be honest with yourself. What are these hidden mystery feelings? Delve deep. What are your real fantasies? And why aren't you living towards these fantasies? When you realize these real fantasies, and ask, your guardian angel in this instance is your angels, they're God, they whatever you believe in. Pray, and like me, you heard my story. If you didn't, maybe go back and listen. They do come when the time is right. You will come out of this and find yourself to be more honest, more clearer, more happy with your emotions. You'll be happier all in all. You'll come to this celebration of victory if you're willing to go through the process. Okay, pile number one. I know this is a bit of a long one. Let me know how this resonates, and I'll be moving on to pile number two. Okay, pile number two. This is a bit of a long one. I had a long intro. Hopefully you listen to it. If not, don't worry. We'll get into your reading. Okay, so this is it's called a child's bread in the inner child. And this is basically, the doorway. What do you need to do in order to get through this doorway? Who do you need to become? Again, if you didn't listen to the intro, it was a bit of a story that I had, but this is basically your story. Okay, so you have got the Guardian of Crystals, the Seeker of Crystals, the Child of Hearts, the Nine of Swords, and the Midas Touch. Okay, so the Guardian of Crystals is, so this is what's shaping you at the moment, and you have got Gaia. Okay, so Gaia is Mother Earth. So basically what is shaping you at this moment is your ability to become more in tuned with Mother Earth. Okay, and that might be in many ways. Okay, so either you're really someone who wants to get involved in something to do with saving the earth, whether it's saving the planet through getting in touch with looking after animals, or maybe you want to get more in touch with, your calling has got something to do with Mother Earth, so it's somehow saving the planet, or you just might have this massive calling in you right now that you need to get involved somehow, whether it's a charity you want to start, or you want to Google just ways of getting more into nature, or how to save nature, whether it's saving animals, whether it's figuring out how you can help the earth. Picking up litter can be a small thing. You might want to join a picking up litter off the beach or off the parks, or somewhere along the line. That's where you might find a lot of your calling is at present moment. Okay. What you need to climb higher towards, or your goal around this time for you, is you have got the Seeker of Crystals. Okay, so this is the Cowardly Lion in Dorothy, Wizard of Oz. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you the stories, obviously, but I'm sure you know the story about the Wizard of Oz and how Dorothy wants to find her way home. And while she's on the path, she comes across these different people, beings, whatever, and one of them was a lion, and he was a bit of a coward, and he couldn't stand up for himself, and felt very low about his situation. Felt like all was all hope was lost. Okay. And for you, it's really and truly important to really go deep within and find that strength to get through the situation. Okay, whatever you're going through right now, it's about, standing up for yourself, being going, maybe finding your own inner child, spending more time with children, or thinking about the stars, thinking about flowers, thinking about life, just going through this personal transformation. And that will help you. It will help you find your inner voice. Apparently, it will just help you find that inner voice to be more victorious in your situation. Okay, maybe you're wanting a voice because, again, you've got such a calling towards helping the earth that you so badly wanted that voice to get out there. I mean, maybe you need to start a YouTube channel, get people, or start a charity organization yourself. And it's about finding that inner strength in order to go out and do that. Okay, take charge of your situation. So that's where you can really climb higher up into attaining what you want to attain. Okay, this card here is your ego, or something you need to change in your life, maybe to sort out this situation. And for you, you have got the Child of Hearts. So this is Goldilocks. Okay, and again, not really going into the story, but we all know Goldilocks goes wandering off into the forest, typical little child, just being in wonder and awe, and finds this little house, gazes in, and off she goes in, sees porridge and chairs, and tries a whole lot of things out. Eventually falls asleep, and bears come home, and she gets a fright and runs all the way home. And again, with Goldilocks, it's also saying to you, there's different perspectives in life. Okay, you need to realize that even though you might see life in one way, other people see life in a totally different way, and there's nothing wrong with that. Her view of their house or their lives might have been very different. They had things set out. I mean, I don't know if you remember that one porridge was too hot, too cold, and just right for her. But in their life, that for them, one bear liked their porridge hot, the other bear liked their porridge cold, and the other bear perhaps liked their porridge lukewarm. There's different perspectives in life, and that is seeing life. I mean, it's almost slightly like the Hermit card, and just seeing life and seeing the people around you in a different perspective. Okay, don't take life as all black and white. See the color, see the gray in life and in your situation. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, find the different perspectives. Okay, accept sometimes the situation is what it is for a very good reason. And if you missed my intro, the quicker you surrender to that, the quicker things will happen for you. Okay. You then got the future, but this is the future of what are you creating right now? And you have got the Nine of Swords. So now the Nine of Swords in traditional tarot is all about fear, anxiety, depression, sleepless nights. Okay, but for this one here, they're showing you that there's a dragon. So he's got all these swords, and he feels like he's trapped by these terrible thoughts. He's trapped in his mind with depression, with anxiety, with whatever life's given him at the moment. Okay, see with this here, with your situation. But again, different perspectives. Is he views these dragons, and if you can see it, these dragons as the baddies. This dragon's trying to kill him. But actually, what he doesn't realize, and this is seeing the different perspectives, is these dragons are actually trying to help him leave, because he can walk that way and he's away from the swords. So, your future and what you're creating for yourself, again, has got to do with coming out of being entrapped. You're going to come out of seeing the world in this different view, understanding that it's just a different perspective. Okay, understanding that you will find the strength to get out of the situation. Okay, you will find your way out of this anxiety, this depression, or whatever you're going through right now. Whatever sleepless nights are, there's a different path for you. Okay, maybe that path is getting in touch with nature as well. Okay, your final card that you've got is called the Midas Touch. Okay, and that is your new world, the doorway to the new world, and again, the quintessential you, if you kind of want to put it. And with the Midas Touch, again, for those of you who don't know the story, I'm really going to go into it. But basically, it's about a king who loved gold, like everything. He just wanted gold and gold and gold and gold and gold. And what had happened was he found a wizard or whatever, and they granted him a wish, and that was everything I touch must turn to gold. And he was granted that wish. And then he went and touched these like roses, because his daughter loved roses, and those turned to gold. And she started crying, and he went to go and rescue her, and she turned to gold. Okay, so he then went crying back to the man and said, oh my God, what do I do, what do I do? And he was like, you know what, be careful what you wish for, because now in order to undo it, you actually have to undo everything you've turned to gold. What does that story tell us? It says, again, careful what you wish for. So the doorway for you to open into the new world is for you to see life in a different perspective. Careful what you are wishing for right now, because it might not be what you're actually wanting, is what it's trying to say. It's going to open your mind to a new way of thinking. It's going to open your mind to be more in touch with Gaia, to be more in touch with the universe, with Earth, with Mother Earth, with nature, and you're going to see more truths, okay? But just be a little bit more careful as to your wish. What you think is going to make you happy is not necessarily going to make you ultimately happy, okay? Being the most wealthiest person on this earth is not always going to make you the happiest person on this earth, okay? So that is what is going to change you. That is what is going to be something that you are going to realize. That is how you're going to get through into the new world. Change your perspective on people around you. Change your perspective on yourself, on your situation. Find the inner strength. Get yourself out of this depression and spend more time or get more involved with saving the earth, with saving the planet, with Mother Nature, doing good for the world. It's going to be your ultimate goal, and that's where you need to be. Okay, pile number 2. Hopefully this resonates with some of you. Let me know down below, and I will chat to you soon. Right, for those of you who have chosen pile number 3, the green triangle. Okay, so if you skip the intro, then you'll have skipped my very long story, but it was my pathway of what I've been going through. So this is all about your pathway to the new world, to getting towards your inner child, to becoming a better you. Okay, so you have got the Guide of Hearts. You have got the Child of Wands. You have got Yellow Brick Road. You have got the Guide of Swords. And you have got the 3 Little Pigs. Okay, so pile number 3. Okay, so the Guide of Hearts. Okay, so the Guide of Hearts is our guardian angel. So the best way for you to see what's shaping you right now, and they could be saying that, what's shaping you the most at this moment is you have got a guardian angel that's around you. So there might be someone around you that you might not see right now that's actually helping you, and that person's actually shaping you to be the best you that you can possibly be. Okay, it's also telling you that it's time that you become a guardian angel. Okay, there's ways that you can help other people in this life, in this world, and you can be a guardian angel to other people. You may not feel like it right now, but you really and truly can. Okay, somewhere along the line, I'm sure the guide will come to you. Okay, so this is how you can obtain to be a bit higher. Okay, And you have got the Child of Wands, which is also the, oh gosh, see now, this is something where I'm just lost. This is the, I can't think of a storyline. I actually have to find it. I'm sorry. Child of Wands. Let me just see if I can find. I've just gone completely blank now. Okay. So this is the Little Prince. Okay. So, I mean, I very vaguely myself remember this story. I remember listening to it as a child, and the storyline was, it's not really so important except for the fact of what comes with it. Okay, so the Little Prince, if I'm correct, so he lived on a different planet, if I'm correct, and he then came down to Earth, and you know how he meets, you know, a young man who shows him the power of love. Okay, the end of the story, he leaves him and goes home to back to his own planet. And he offers this man a star as a gift. The Little Prince says, and this is actually, maybe it's a good thing I found it, because this is actually quite interesting. So listen to this. All men have the stars, okay? But they are not the same things for different people. For some who are travelers, the stars are guides. For others who are no more than little lights in the sky. For others who are scholars, they are the problems. For my businessmen, they are the wealth. But all these stars are silent. You and you alone will have the stars as no one else has them. Okay, so in one of the stars, this carries on. In one of the stars, I shall be living. In one of them, I shall be laughing. And so it will be as if all the stars were laughing. And when you look at the night sky, you and only you will have the star that can laugh. I mean, how sweet is that? Okay. So, you know, what does this mean for you, and how can you obtain to be better in your life? It's quite simple, okay? You need to be able to be that star for someone else. You need to be able to bring laughter, and that's maybe, again, what it means with being someone's guardian angel. You know, you might think to yourself, well, how the hell, I don't even have my own life together. How the hell am I going to be someone else's guardian angel? Well, it's quite simple. Helping others will help you in the end. It's just the way it is. It's confusing, but just the way that it is. And so, you know, find the awe. If you missed my intro, again, you'll see that this week when I wanted to do X, my son was like, no, I'll cry until you give me attention. And so I had to find the awe. And that was singing and clapping. And I just spent 3 days, instead of trying to help me, which I did help me in the long run, I had to help him. So we went swinging and singing and clapping and you name it, storytelling, all of that. And that's what you need to do in order to become higher in your purpose, okay? Find the awe, you know, start looking at the stars, start looking at being, maybe you're a star child, you could be a star seed. Again, if you listen to the intro, we had a bit of a small discussion about this. Look into the Palladians and the people and you know, just being a bit of a star child or, you know, star seed. But yeah, really start to have a look at life in that precious way. You know, be someone's laughing star. If that's all you can be, okay? Then you have got, okay, so this is where you've got the change of heart. And I know this become quite confusing because this is the Sun card, which is like the happiest card in the deck. And it is follow the yellow brick road. Okay, so when I say change, I'm not saying change being happy. I'm saying change your view of maybe what happiness means to you, okay? Your view might have been, happiness means me finding true love. Happiness for me means being rich. Happiness for me means, I don't know, whatever it is. They're saying change your views of what actually brings you happiness, okay? When you follow the yellow brick road, as you know, in the Wizard of Oz, you've asked to follow your inner child. This is a child that was told, you know, in order to find their way home. And remember, home is where the heart is. Home is being, you know, there's a spiritual belief in to, you know, obtain home. You know, you need to follow the happiness. So follow happiness, but the way that a child would. Okay. Remember in the sun tarot, in the traditional tarot, there is the sun card does have a child riding on a horse. And that's exactly it. Finding your inner child is the answers to everything that you need. Finding the laughter, finding the flowers, the stars, and the everything beautiful. Being the the fairy godmother. Okay. This will actually bring you the most happiness. Okay. So this is basically your future and what are you creating for yourself and for those you love right now. And you have got the Guard of Swords. And what is he? He is Robin Hood. Okay, so again, brief story. As we know, Robin Hood stole from the rich to give to the poor. Okay. During his journeys, he also fell in love with Maid Marian. And then, of course, there was a bit of a hoo-ha with all of that as well. But now I'm not literally saying you need to go out and you're going to go out and start robbing people. Please don't. But his belief systems was quite good. And again, you could be someone's magical guardian, mother, whatever, by helping people who are in need, really going out and giving to people that are in need. Finding just any kind of giving to people, giving your time, being their guardian angel, helping them out into happiness, and bringing truth and justice. Maybe you need to seek more truth and justice in your life, whatever that may be. Okay, that's really and truly what you are basically creating for yourself. Okay, it's really, again, becoming fairy godmother to everyone else. Okay, and that's basically what you're creating. Then this is your doorway. This is how we will become the quintessential you. This is your doorway into your new world. Okay, and you have got the 3 little pigs. Okay, so this is the judgment card. Okay, so with the judgment card, so with the story, as you know, there are 3 pigs all set off where I think the mother gives them each money and then they must all go and build their house. And the first pig builds a house of straw, second pig out of wood or sticks, and then the third pig out of bricks. Okay, then of course you've got the evil big bad wolf, and the evil big bad wolf comes and he blows down and says, I'll huff and a puff and a blow your house down, and he blows down the house of straw. That little pig scurries off and runs away. And the second house, same thing, huff and a puff, and he blows the house down, and that little pig runs away. And eventually they run to their brother who has the house of bricks, and he huffs and puffs, and he obviously cannot blow the house down. There's a little bit more to the story about, the different way he tricks the pigs into trying to draw them out the house so that he can kill them and eat them. And in the end, what actually happens is the third little pig's obviously a lot more on top of things, and he puts a big pot because he can hear the footsteps of the wolf trying to climb onto his roof, and boiling water under the chimney. The wolf falls down through the chimney and actually ends up killing himself. Okay, so this is basically the judgment card, and the judgment card's all about a reawakening. It's a rebirth. It's a realization of what's happening in your life. You could really and truly look at your life in the sense of, making good sound judgments, thinking before you do things in your life. And that's what's really going to help you over the through into the next doorway is really sitting and thinking about every little thought process, how and how each one of them are going to bring out a different situation. It's got to do with your beliefs. It's got to do with truth. It's got to be, with being a little bit more wise, realizing how your actions, how they actually affect yourself and others in the end of the day. Okay, what judgment are you going to take going forward? It's also a card for you to realize, do not judge other people. Okay, don't, you want to be Robin Hood, don't judge other people and think, well, because they're rich or because they're poor, that they are in a certain way. That's also quite important for you going forward. So here's pile number 3. I hope that made a little bit of sense for you. Again, your ultimate goal is to become more of a fairy godmother. I believe it's not really, yes, there are angels and spirits, guides, and, all kinds of guides around you right now that are helping bringing you your wishes come true. But ultimately, your biggest goal and your biggest way in order for you to go through and into the new you, whatever, new world, whatever you want to call it, is actually for you to be the guardian angels to others. Help others with happiness, help others see the world in a different light, help bring people who are maybe in a less off situation than what you are. Don't judge them for their situation, but also make wise and better judgment, make wise and better choices in your life, because ultimately they all have consequences. Okay, let me know how that goes, and I will chat to you soon. Bye bye.